Hi everyone, Michael Herrick with HIPAA for Humans, realistic cybersecurity advice for healthcare. More and more healthcare organizations are moving their operations to the cloud. Even small healthcare clinics are starting to outsource their email or their office operations to services like Google Workspace and Microsoft 365. Larger healthcare organizations, and especially health technology startups, are building and hosting complex PHI databases, applications, EHRs on cloud service platforms like Amazon Web Services or Google Cloud Platform or Microsoft Azure. All of these cloud services bring lots of operational benefits and efficiencies, and they can be very attractive for organizations of all sizes. They can also help, properly managed, they can help a healthcare organization manage their HIPAA compliance obligations very well. But there are risks associated with these cloud services that you should be considering in your risk assessment. Not necessarily HIPAA compliance risks, but risks related to business continuity. One of the things that comes up, one of the questions that comes up right away with these cloud services is, does using one of these cloud services all by itself constitute a data backup as required by HIPAA? And I think it does. We may not know the details of how backups are managed at these cloud service platforms, but we are relying on a high availability, geographically distributed infrastructure that ensures that our data will always be available, meeting the HIPAA obligations for data backups and data integrity. But what about those other risks? What are the risks of relying on one of these cloud services? Again, not so much for HIPAA backups, but there may be other reasons why you should consider a separate third-party data backup of your cloud service. I'm going to post a link in the comments below to a very frightening news story of a number of businesses who found themselves unexpectedly locked out of their cloud service platforms. These are businesses who were canceled by their cloud service providers with no notice and with no legal recourse. They've lost years, in some cases more than a decade, of critical business information. Again, little notice, little clarity, and no legal recourse to get it back. Now, if you're storing PHI in any of these cloud services, then you've got to have a business associate agreement, and that agreement should give you some additional protections. Cloud services can't cancel a BAA quite as quickly as they can just lock you out for a terms of service agreement, a violation. But even there, you've got to consider the risk of errors being made. And remember, sometimes these decisions are being made by algorithms outside human oversight. And if you're storing non-PHI data, critical business information that's not technically PHI on these services, you may not have a business associate agreement. And now you're 100% at the mercy of the terms of service. And these organizations can choose who to remove, who to cancel, who to deplatform at any time. That's something that as business owners, we've got to be concerned about and be thinking about. So this year, we've started recommending to all of our clients, if you're using cloud services in this way, we're recommending that you set up an independent third-party backup of your cloud service. Again, not for HIPAA compliance reasons, but for business continuity reasons, and to reduce the risk of relying on a single cloud service provider. This backup could be from one big tech company to another big tech company, or it could be a backup to hardware that you own and control. One way or the other, you're just trying to reduce your reliance on a single cloud service provider and trying to reduce and manage the risk of being deplatformed or unexpectedly canceled and losing access to your critical business data. At Matterform, we're always looking for new threats and emerging trends in the cybersecurity industry. If you would like help uncovering some of these threats that might be overlooked in your internal risk assessments, you might find an independent, third-party, objective risk assessment from Matterform to be very helpful. My name is Michael Herrick, HIPAA for Humans. Thanks for watching.